Hey, this is Jerry Cantrell. I'm hanging out with Nate on the Vinyl Guide.
Hey there, record heads. Make sure to check out bagsunlimited.com for your vinyl record supplies. Bagsunlimited.com supplies record stores and collectors around the world with protective sleeves, archival storage supplies, record storage boxes, protective vinyl shipping mailers, and tons of other durable solutions that'll keep your records safe for years. Just go to bagsunlimited.com and check out their audio and record supplies. That's bagsunlimited.com.
And now, on with the show. Welcome to the Vinyl Guide, the podcast for record collectors and music nerds. Here's your host, the biggest record nerd of them all, Nate Goyer.
Hello, everyone. It's Nate. Welcome to episode 467 of the Vinyl Guide, the podcast for record collectors and music nerds. And ladies and gentlemen, this week, I'm very stoked to share a conversation I just had with Jerry Cantrell, founder, songwriter, guitarist of Alice in Chains, and lots of killer solo albums. You know, pretty much everything Jerry does, I enjoy. I mean, you could put the needle down on an Alice in Chains album or a Jerry Cantrell solo record, and I am all ears. And lucky for us, he's also quite prolific. His fourth solo album is coming out on October 18th, I Want Blood. There's 2 tracks out right now. You can check them out immediately on all streaming services. Of course, there are a couple videos available, and you can get these singles on vinyl. There's limited versions of 500 each, and they've got a vinyl-only spoken word version. Plus, there are pre-orders of the full I Want Blood album at jerrycantrell.com. Head up there and secure your copies today. Now, in this conversation, Jerry and I talk all about the new record, songwriting, the spoken word versions that are specifically for the vinyl editions, as well as what's happening to the Alice in Chains catalog on vinyl. When are we going to see the Three-Legged Dog album reissue? When are we going to see Unplugged reissue? The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. We talk about all that and more. It's very clear Jerry is a fan of vinyl, so looking like we have a bit of a timeline for most of those coming together. Now, a quick note, there are a couple parts of this conversation where Jerry's phone connection is a bit choppy. I cleaned it up the best I can. There's a couple moments where you got to kind of work out what he's saying, but it's not too big of a deal. You got to work with what you're given, you know? And by the way, there's an extended version of this interview available at patreon.com/vinylguide. Supporters of this podcast always get extras, commercial-free versions, high-resolution episodes, and lots more. So help support our podcast at patreon.com/vinylguide and get an extended version of this interview straight away. And with that, let's get into our conversation with Jerry Cantrell on all things vinyl and lots more. Well, hello, Jerry.
Hey, Nate. What's up, man?
Oh, man. It's beautiful weather here in Sydney, Australia. I hope the world's treating you well, mate.
Yeah, I love Sydney. Really hope we can get down there on this trip.
Come on down. You can always crash on the couch. No problems. I hope you like dogs.
Yeah, it's, ex-US touring is always challenging. So, gotta try to make sure I can not lose too much money coming down.
It's a long way, man. I understand.
Well, ex-US touring is really expensive, and when you're touring outside your normal big band, the rooms are smaller, the guarantees are smaller, and the costs remain the same. So I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure it out where we can get down there, because I sure miss it, and I don't think I've ever done a run on my own down there. So only with Alice.
All right. Well, we'll put that in the universe. Hope it happens. Look, man, congratulations. Yeah. The new album, I Want Blood. I want to make sure everyone knows October 18th, the full thing's coming out. But there's 2 tracks now on streaming, and people can set up their streaming service to download the full album on the day of release. And vinyl is available at jerrycantrell.com. Jerry, a couple years ago, you did an interview in front of this massive wall of records. I mean, it's just stunning display, and all the vinyl nerds went ape. Is this Jerry's collection?
They sure did. They sure did.
Is that your collection?
It is not, and that it's funny. Out of all the things I've been that I kind of regularly get asked or that people bring up, that question question gets asked every interview where anybody has any interest in vinyl at all. Is that your collection? I'm like, no, it was just somebody's house in the valley or in the canyon that we did the interview at. But it looks impressive.
It does. Oh my God! So, are you a bit of a vinyl nerd? Do you have a collection at home?
I do have a collection of vinyl at home. Not as big as I used to have. I was just talking to my buddy Tyler Bates, my neighbor. He's just getting himself a nice turntable and a system installed over there because he's kind of neglected the component to play some of his vinyl, And he told me he was at a friend's house recently where they had put the vinyl on for Brighten and played the whole thing, and he's like, God, it sounds so good on vinyl. It just does, the compression, the hiss, the less bass, really, less bass, so let the system carry it rather than being in the groove. And there's a quality to that really can't be replicated. So it's nice that there's still vinyl aficionados out there. Over the last handful of years, I think this is like the first year it kind of dropped off, but it's been steadily kind of climbing the vinyl market, and so we always try to make some,
Yeah, absolutely. And you've not only, I Want Blood's coming out on vinyl. There's a couple variants that look pretty interesting, but you're starting to go back in the vaults. I noticed there was a reissue of Black Gives Way to Blue that came out literally the day after I plunked down about $150 for an original press. So,
okay,
that's okay. I look forward to everyone getting their hands on that one. But are you going to be doing more vinyl reissues in the near future?
Yeah, we've been kind of doing them for each of the records. I guess we started with the facelift at 30, and so we just continued on, with each subsequent release as it came up to that time mark. We probably should have done something earlier than that, but we don't operate. A lot of times we don't operate on what you should do. we kind of do it when we get around to it, but once we do it, we try to do it right. I think we've made some really cool represses of those and some cool collector packages for fans, and the most recent one was the Jar of Flies one, which turned out great, and we'll probably turn our eyes toward the self-titled record here next. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, because next year is 30 years for that. What do you call it?
That's right.
You call it the Three-Legged Dog album. What do you call that internally?
Yeah, I think I've always called it the Dog record, but it's just self-titled. Sean always calls it Tripod. I always call it the Dog record. So we all have our own personal name for it. Yeah.
Okay, because that record, I don't know how much you're aware of the collectability of Alice in Chains and your work, but that record tends to go for $500, sometimes $600 for a vinyl copy. So it
Sure.
sounds, I'm reading between the lines here, it sounds like in the near future there's going to be a more affordable alternative for collectors.
Hopefully. Hopefully. It's cool that we were able to make some records that have translated through the years and get passed down to new generations of fans and musicians and stuff, and it's cool to it continues to have a life of its own. And so we've always felt real lucky to have had the opportunity to be able to do that, and we're really proud of the work that we did, but we also feel like it does have an identity and it takes on kind of a life of its own. And so we kind of feel like we're shepherds, if you will. We gotta tend it, gotta attend to it. So, and we like to do special things. So, hopefully we'll get something together for that one too.
Great. Well, look, it seems like you really favor the album format. There doesn't seem to be a lot of EPs anymore. Albums are your primary vehicle. Do you tend to think of it that way? Even have themes, a side A and a side B, act 1, act 2, that sort of thing?
Well, we've done EPs in the past, so I would never rule out the fact that we wouldn't do another one again. But yeah, I think albums are important. You don't get to do them that often. Back in before we even started, the the cyclic rate was way faster. I mean, bands were putting out, the Beatles, Van Halen, you put out 2 records in a year,
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like, for us, it was about a 2-year window, every time we put a record out. But we would do EPs in between. So I guess it was about, every year, I guess we were at least having something to do. But I do like shooting for that, because I think it's a statement. And it's also a real commitment to a real healthy dose of a new reality and a new time, and what your band sounds like in the times that you're existing in. And, they're time capsules. They're permanent records of a space and time and a group of people, and you put all of this creativity, energy, and emotion into it. How it sounds, how it looks, how you want to portray it, picking singles, doing little vignettes and videos for them. I mean, it's a fun process, and it's just the way I've always done it. So, I think it's important. I hadn't done a record on my own for, I don't know, what was it, 18 or 19 years since Degradation Trip or something like that. So when I started feeling like, hey man, I'd like to maybe do one again, I jumped into do Brighten with my buddy Tyler Bates and Paul Figueroa and Joe Barisi, and we gathered up all the material and invited the musicians in and made a really good record, and then went out and toured it. And I had such a good experience with that. And I hadn't, like I say, I spend most of my time and focus on Alice. So I don't often get the time to do it. And it was just really fun. And I really enjoyed it. And I felt like I wanted to do, I was invigorated to do another one right away. And I didn't intend for this to be the process, or for this to be the case, but, it's kind of life, showing you maybe that you're doing the right thing for yourself, kind of a completion of a circle, if you will. Boggy Depot and Degradation Trip were both done back to back, and Brighten and I Want Blood are now being done both back to back too. So it's kind of a cool little bookend. Hopefully it won't be another 18 years before I do another 2 records. But if that's the case, that's fine. I'm digging where I'm at in the now, and I'm really enjoying it. And, that's all you can really do is follow your gut, and the experiences and the music that I've created and the people that I've made the music with, it's all been worth it. It feels like I'm where I need to be right now.
Yeah, oh, that's beautiful. That sounds like you're in a really good space. Is the album I Want Blood, is there a theme to it? When you look at it, is there, like, what story does it tell for you?
Well, it's not a concept record, but that doesn't mean it doesn't feel like a complete body of work. It really does, actually. And I think that's what you're hoping for, that you have a collection of songs that are all equally kind of unique and powerful to themselves, and then when you put them together, they kind of make a even bigger thing, and they do kind of tell a little bit of a story. So, they're little vignettes that all have their little messages and storylines that are going through, but just sonically, as a pure listen, it feels complete to me.
Okay, I guess when you're writing the material, you represent your thoughts, your emotions, the state you're in at the time. Once you get on the other side of it, looking back at what you've recorded and what you've created, are there any messages that you're learning about yourself through it?
I feel like I challenge myself quite a bit, and I like to hope that I do that on every record, that maybe I'm getting a little better at my craft. Maybe hopefully I'm going into some new territory as a guitar player, as a singer, as a producer. You hope that you're learning and that you're growing, and so I guess that's the thing I think that stands out the most to me, and that's really the most meaningful. It feels like you're where you're supposed to be, and and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, one thing that struck me as very interesting, both on Vilified and Afterglow, there's a 12-inch and there's a 7-inch available. And on the album versions of I Want Blood, there are spoken word versions of the songs. What were you thinking, and what are you hoping for that to, I guess, you put that in the world? What sort of reaction or what sort of engagement do you think that will have?
I think it's just it was just kind of a creative idea. When you're making vinyl and vinyl packages and different variants and stuff like that, you're thinking about some special things that for only the vinyl crowd, basically,
Mm-hmm.
the old school vinyl crowd. So of course it's going to get out and be on every format, but to first deliver something a little extra special on that vinyl package, I think that's a cool thing. And so I was trying to figure out what actually to do. Sometimes you'll put some a cappella tracks or some instrumentals. There's a lot of people, including myself, have done, variations on stuff like that. Some folks will put little hidden tracks. Jack Black's he's really creative on that stuff, where he's got like an EP within a record, like, like on the different groove and like holograms and stuff. I mean, that dude's like so far out there and in such a beautiful way. He takes it to such an extreme. But you're just trying to think of some special things to do. And so the first thought that I had was maybe I would try like a spoken word lyric thing, just a lyric recitation in some sort of a light soundscape or something like that, and put that on the B side of the vinyl, so that it'd be just a little kind of cool extra little thing, and also maybe like showing a portion of the writing in a different, the lyric writing anyway, in a different form. So, but I had just, it was in crunch time. It was at the very end of the record when we were making the decision on what are we going to put on the B side of the single. And I'm like, I'll do a spoken word. So I did the spoken word, and then I'm like, this needs music or some sort of vibe behind it, and I didn't want to write a bunch of new music. So I asked my demo partner, Maxwell Uraski, a really talented guy. And he's also a really cool musician and vocalist as well. I'm like, hey man, do you got any music laying around that we could maybe try as a background soundtrack to this of the spoken word? And he's like, yeah, let me mess around with it for a minute. And he came back the next day with a piece of music that really was emotional and fit the vibe, and it was so cool. I brought it into the studio and showed Joe Barisi, my co-producing partner, and he's like, man, you should do this for every one of these songs. And I'm like, we got to go to press here in a couple of weeks, man. He's like, you can get it done, man. You can get it done. So like, all right. So we got in the chair, we recorded all the spoken word stuff for each one of the songs. And as I said, I didn't really want to go back into creative music mode. And I thought it might be more interesting to have other people do the music. And so I reached out to all of the players that I've recorded with on these last two records and tours, and a couple other folks in my touring band, like Roy Mayorga, Greg Pachado did one. I think Joe Barisi did one. Maxwell did one. Michael Rosen, George Adrian, my bass player from my last band. I just sent the lyrics out to everybody, and everybody came back with all these little cool, eclectic pieces of music that kind of fit the vibe of the lyric, I guess, in a way. And the thing that's really interesting about it, they didn't have any reference to the music of the song, so it has nothing to do with the recorded music of the song. It's just a different vignette and a different way to appreciate the lyric, I guess, in a different form. So, and it's a special thing. It's a special thing for vinyl collectors,
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking on behalf of many vinyl collectors, I think we're okay with the etchings. We don't need any more etchings. Put more interesting material and music.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. Something that's actually you can listen to. Yeah.
Yeah, my big problem with etchings is sometimes I'm not looking or my wife's not looking. They flip the record, and then they put the stylus down on this. It makes a horrible noise on the etching.
Oh, so, yeah. Sure.
It's a good way to ruin your turntable. Okay, so that's a really interesting concept. So you really I guess you think in terms of albums, you think in terms of Act 1, Act 2, Side 1, Side 2, or 3 or 4, that sort of thing.
I do.
It sounds like you strike me as kind of a guy that really still has a strong love for analog, tapes, vinyl, that sort of thing, yeah?
I do, but I'm also not like a snob either. I'm okay with using the new tools, and what I try to shoot for is a mix between the both. So, a lot of times, Pro Tools is a real time saving tool, and it's great, and we've used it a bunch. But we also record to tape, especially like drums, vocals, acoustic guitars, big time. Record to tape as well, and then bounce that back into the session, so you're getting some of that compression and that hiss as well. So I think what I try to shoot for is some old school elements, some analog gear, and then and also marry that with the usability and the speed of the new technology, and kind of try to find it somewhere blend in the middle.
Mm-hmm. When you look at the catalog, both Alice in Chains and your solo work, there's a lot of releases that are available on vinyl. Brighten, Degradation Trip was recently reissued. There's a few other releases that still unclear of when we'll see a reissue of. For example, The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. That was only issued on picture discs, if I understand, yeah? Hey there, audiophiles. If you're seeking stylish furniture to showcase your stereo and record collection, well, look no further than SidetrackedWorkshop.com. Sidetracked Workshop designs extraordinarily elegant record cabinets and consoles that add sophistication and panache to your music hobby. Handcrafted in the good old USA in the vinyl-loving city of Portland, Oregon, Sidetracked Workshop's designs are a music lover's dream. Made with real walnut veneered wood and brass accents, these gorgeous designs add class and taste to the record room and ship fully assembled and ready to enjoy. Just check out the designs for yourself at SidetrackedWorkshop.com. Look, you spend thousands of dollars on records. Don't keep them in a crate, and don't risk your records on those feeble wooden pegs from IKEA. Your music deserves the dignity of Sidetracked Workshop. That's SidetrackedWorkshop.com. Elegant solutions for the vinyl lifestyle. Oh, and hey, record nerds, don't forget to clean your records with the very best and safest record cleaner, the Groove Washer. Make your records look and sound their very best, and store them with confidence using the new Groove Washer Groove Guard record sleeves. You gotta try this out. It makes a huge difference to the quality of your vinyl experience. Ask for the Groove Washer by name at your local record store and accept no substitutes. Or head over to groovewasher.com and use discount code VINYLGUIDE10.
All hail the Groove Washer.
That's groovewasher.com, discount code VINYLGUIDE10. Hey there, all you record nerds. I want to tell you about bagsunlimited.com. Bagsunlimited.com has a huge selection of vinyl record supplies. Whether you collect LPs, 7-inch singles, 78 shellacs, or anything in between, bagsunlimited.com will sort you out. From polyline sleeves to cardboard record mailers to 7-inch storage boxes and archive quality record sleeves, protect your records of any size and shape at bagsunlimited.com. Whether you have a small personal record collection or you're running a massive record shop, you can grab a small supply or even buy in bulk at bagsunlimited.com. And they've got some really incredible, unique stuff. Bagsunlimited.com even has special size sleeves made especially to protect your box sets, storage boxes and sleeves for cassette tapes, protective supplies for reel-to-reel, and yes, even 8 tracks. Just go to bagsunlimited.com, click on audio supplies, and prepare to be impressed by all the options they have. That's bagsunlimited.com. There's a few other releases that still unclear of when we'll see a reissue of. For example, The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. That was only issued on picture discs, if I understand, yeah?
That's right. Yeah, we had the different dinosaur heads. That was actually a really cool vinyl package. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll probably get to that down the road. We're going consecutively in order right now, one at a time. So, and because it takes a while. It really does. It takes a while to get the artwork together and the package, and then you've got to You got it takes a bit of work. Speaking of that particular package and everything from Black Gives Way to Blue forward, we've been working almost exclusively with Ryan Clark and Invisible Creature. So on putting our album packages together, the vinyl reissues, they're really talented artists, and we have a great relationship with them, and they do really good work, and we have a lot of great ideas, and we work really well together. And so that's where a lot of that stuff, I got to give them props, because they're just as important and responsible for a lot of the cool vinyl stuff that you're seeing and hearing.
Are you finding, when you go back into the vaults, things are missing? Do you know where the tapes are, the art? Are there elements that you have to chase down?
Yeah, we got most of our stuff. There's a few things that might be floating around out there. There was a big panic, a few years back when a couple of vaults burned up, with a bunch of people's stuff on it. So I think there are a couple of items that I think we're still trying to put our finger on where the hell those things went. But for the most part, we've got most of our stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so the Dog album, those tapes are safe, because that was the rumor that I'd heard. One of the reasons why you haven't reissued is because the master tapes may have gone up in smoke. So that's not the case.
No, I don't really think that's the case. I think basically Sony, they basically just stopped making vinyl for a while. You know what I mean? And at some point it was just all digital, and digital and CD. And so, we partnered with them, to do some of these releases and re-releases. And that's my cat in the microphone, by the way, if you're wondering what that was. But I think a lot of record companies just stopped making them. And so the way that I think if you look at the vinyl that's been produced, the impetus has been mostly from the artists, wanting, like, hey man, we got to make some fucking cool vinyl again, for this stuff, and also fan demand, so that it's usually starts with us partnering up with the labels or whatever that hold the masters or whatever, and putting out some cool stuff for people.
Yeah. And look, that's the kind of the focus of our show. We deal a lot with vinyl collectors and rarities and rare recordings, that sort of thing. And Alice in Chains,
sure.
And a lot of your solo work, so many people love it, myself included. And we want to be able to have a copy of it on our preferred format, on the way that we listen.
Sure. Well, thanks for letting me know that. I wasn't aware that was one of the rarest ones of ours, the Alice in Chains record.
There's a few, the three-legged dog one, that's a rarity. Alice in Chains Live, I don't think that was ever released on vinyl. I think that was just
That's a good point.
digital.
A good point.
And Unplugged, that's another one.
Unplugged, yep. Yeah, Unplugged would be a good one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess the best we could do is look towards that 30-year mark of some of these releases and put it out in the universe.
Well, hopefully once we get these 30s taken care of, the rest of them won't be that mark. We did a cool thing for, like you say, for Black is with Blue. Hopefully it won't be 30 for the rest of them.
God damn it, Jerry, hurry up. No. So I'm curious, in your mind, when does a song that you're writing become an Alice in Chains song, and when does it become a Jerry Cantrell song?
Basically, it's just who I record the song with. Alice can do pretty much anything, as we proved doing Facelift, Sap, Dirt, and Jar of Flies, and so on. Many albums that have a mix of all different kinds of music that the band played, and people accepted that we took those chances musically, and it's become part of our identity. So there's nothing that we couldn't do. So if I'm recording a song with Alice in Chains and all the other guys dig it and we want to record it, then it becomes an Alice in Chains song. If I'm writing a song that I record with other musicians, it's obviously not going to be an Alice in Chains song because Alice didn't record it.
Right. But you write mainly in the studio, or do you stockpile riffs and then pull them together for a future project?
Yeah, I'm always just sketching. I don't really have an intention for what I'm going to do, what I'm writing, or what I'm going to use it for. I just write, collect cool ideas, little phrases, melodies, riffs, and then I don't write all the time. Writing to me is a cyclic process. There's a writing period, a recording period, and then a touring period, and that really takes up about 2 or 3 years if you put all that together. So that's a good chunk of time, to be able to complete the process, to be able to try to do it well, and capitalize on the work that you've done and take it around the world and play it for everybody. So when that's over, I generally don't want to just jump right into another 3-year cycle. You know what I mean? I want to take a little bit of time to reflect and to heal up, and just rest a little bit, because it's a hell of an effort and a commitment. It takes a minute to I think it's very healthy for me to walk away from music once in a while, to take a break from it, and then when you pick it back up, it's new and it's fresh again. And then once you feel that creative urge again, then you look at it, let's whip out the tapes, let's start going through all this stuff, and you're like, hey, that's cool. That's really fucking cool. Holy shit, I forgot about that. You know what I mean? And then you just start getting into the demo process and go. And then once you get into the creative process of actually sketching up some of these ideas, you'll stumble across other things, or things will happen in the moment, and new songs will arise, and you're off to the races again, so.
Okay, so there are periods where you put your guitar away, you don't touch it for weeks at a time sometimes, it sounds like.
I haven't played guitar for 2.5 weeks. I got off tour 2.5 weeks ago. I have not picked up a guitar. I'm going to do it for the first time tonight. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Get those calluses back.
Yeah, those seem to hang out pretty much I don't have to worry about that too much, but I don't go too long, but it's good to give your voice a break, give your hands a break, give your brain a break,
Yeah, recharge the battery.
Yep.
Sounds like you're in a good space here. You got the new record coming out. You got a tour coming up. What else is going on? You got some Alice dates coming up. What does the next year or so look like for you?
I'm really stoked to have another record out there in the wild, and I'm looking forward to the next year of touring, and seeing where it goes from there. And we've also got some Alice dates planned next year as well. So it's going to be pretty busy. Yeah.
I saw some of those. Very good. Not a lot of putting the guitar down for the next year or two, it sounds like.
That's right. That's right.
So, Jerry, thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to remind folks, Jerry Cantrell's latest solo album, I Want Blood, is available October 18th. There's a couple of tracks out there right now. There's a couple of videos, and make sure you check out the vinyl releases at jerrycantrell.com. There's some 12 inches and 7-inch, very limited edition of Vilified and Afterglow, and some really cool vinyl variants of I Want Blood. Again, jerrycantrell.com. Jerry, thank you so much, mate. And we look forward to seeing you, hopefully down under at some point, but wherever you play, man, be safe. Godspeed.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, man, what a chill dude. I so admire him and the work that he's done. Pretty much any Alice in Chains or Jerry Cantrell solo record, anything he's worked on, you drop the needle on, and I am all in. I mean, his music just really seems to resonate with me. So, pleasure having him on the show. Again, there's an extended version of this interview available at patreon.com/vinyl guide. Please feel free to head up there now, and thank you in advance for your support. And that's it for this episode of The Vinyl Guide. Thank you so much for tuning in. Big thanks to everyone who's sharing these episodes on social media, on Reddit forums and Facebook groups, putting them on their feeds and tweeting them out. That is so appreciated. And big props to those of you who are leaving positive reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That's a huge help as well. And we're quite busy here at The Vinyl Guide, so very pleased to share. We've got a lot of great episodes coming up. Please follow The Vinyl Guide in your podcast app, and we'll be back shortly with a brand new episode. So until we talk next time, get out there and buy some records, people. Cheers.